Tonight, a devastating injury.
It honestly just feels like there's a dark cloud above everyone's head. It's definitely quiet.
Shock and support after a high school football player sustains a life-altering spinal injury. Also tonight,
we hope that today's announcement will bring some assurance or reassurance to the family in this difficult time.
5 years after her disappearance, how many people are facing charges in the death of a First Nations woman from Western Manitoba? Plus, whose voice is that anyway?
And it absolutely terrified me.
A local musician claims her voice was used to create AI-generated songs. But is there anything she can do about it?
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Shockwaves tonight across the high school sports community. A life-altering neck injury sustained during a Friday night football game has left a grade 12 student in intensive care and his family desperate for help. According to a GoFundMe for the player, his road to recovery will be a long one. With more on this, CTV's Jeff Keel joins us now live. Jeff, do we know what happened?
Yeah, we're told the injury occurred at the start of the game during kickoff. The player was unconscious and the game came to a stop. Winnipeg's football community is rallying around a high school player who sustained a life-changing spinal injury. This student saw it happen.
The whistle blew and they started to play, and then like the heads bammed, and then next thing you know, he was unconscious on the ground, and the game just stopped. Winnipeg High School Football League Commissioner Jeffrey Bannon says on Friday night during a game between Sisler and Tech Vaughan at the Nomads Field, a grade 12 Sisler student suffered a tragic neck injury. He required emergency surgery and is still in the hospital in ICU and has begun breathing on his own. And we are waiting for the swelling to subside to find out the full extent of what his road to recovery, in what capacity, and what the future will hold for him and his family. Bannon and others are encouraging people to donate to a GoFundMe page set up for him and his family. The GoFundMe says money raised will help pay for hospital parking, travel expenses, meals, and future rehabilitation and therapy. Following word of the accident, the mood was somber at Sisler High School Monday. It just feels like there's a dark cloud above everyone's head. It's definitely quiet. It feels very weird without him here.
I was like shocked, speechless. I could not even think.
The GoFundMe says every donation, prayer, and message of support helps. And while the road to recovery will be a long one, he is strong.
He's very kind. He's very generous. He's like the type of person where if you're in need of something, he'll be there.
The goal of the GoFundMe is to raise $26,000. At one point today, more than $19,000 had already come in.
Wow. Jeff, what about his family? What are they saying about the player tonight?
Yeah, we spoke with a family member literally in the last hour, and the relative called this a bad collision and a fluke injury. He says the player is a great kid, a respectful young man who fell in love with football.
Well, our thoughts are with him and all of them. Thanks, Jeff. Mounties in BC are asking for your help finding a missing boy and his grandfather who may be traveling to our city. RCMP say 6-year-old Zindane Wavy and his 42-year-old grandfather, Norman LaCoy, were reported missing Friday. The pair are believed to be together, and RCMP say they may be traveling to Winnipeg as LaCoy is originally from here. Anyone with information is asked to contact their local police department or Crime Stoppers. 5 years after she disappeared in a case that involved close to 60 police officers, RCMP had made arrests in the murder of Melinda Linksleg. CTV's Joseph Bernacki was at RCMP headquarters today when the announcement was made and joins us now live. Joseph, tell us about these arrests.
Marilee, RCMP say 3 men are in custody tonight, all charged with second-degree murder and offer indignity to human remains. Linksleg was from Valley River First Nation. Between the towns of Roblin and Dauphin, her sister reported her missing in April of 2020. 3 years later, in June of 2023, her body was discovered at an abandoned property in San Clara, a small community north of Roblin. Linksleg was 40 years old when she disappeared. She was an aunt, a sister, a daughter, and a mother to 6 children. One of those children wrote a heartfelt statement about losing her mother. RCMP Sergeant Morgan Page read it aloud.
As Melinda's daughter, I have been grieving her loss for years, living with the pain that never ends. Growing up without her meant missing the love and guidance every girl deserves from her mother. The laughter and moments often daughters share with their mums are things that I will never have. The loss has left an ache in me and in all of us.
Joseph, did RCMP say why it took so long to make these arrests?
Marilee, Sergeant Page says this was an extremely complex investigation. Several RCMP detachments were involved in the investigation. Dozens of officers took more than 150 statements, and it took investigators thousands of hours to pore over all the evidence. Facing charges are 42-year-old Kirk Kenneth Allery from Roblin, 38-year-old Miles Malcolm Allery from Russell, and 46-year-old Billy J. Lynxleg from Valley River First Nation. All three will remain in custody until a future court date.
Joseph, do RCMP expect to make any more arrests in this case?
Marilee, they say their investigation is ongoing. Officers are now interviewing the suspects and getting more information. Whether that information leads to more arrests is unclear. RCMP today thanked community members and others who came forward with information. They say it was crucial to making these arrests, and it's worth mentioning none of these charges have yet been tested in court.
All right, thanks for this, Joseph. A couple says they're taking things hour by hour after their home was gutted by fire over the weekend. This is all that remains of Dallas Moore's childhood home just southwest of Selkirk, where he was living with his partner and infant daughter. The couple says they left their home for about 20 minutes Friday evening to pick up food and return to a house filled with smoke. Moore says as he opened the door, a rush of oxygen ignited the flames and the house was soon engulfed.
It hurts, but you know, at the end of the day, everything in the house can be replaced. The only thing we really care about is our dog.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing that we're dealing with in our loss.
Yes, everything compared to that is minuscule, but it is still very heartbreaking when you pour everything, your everyday life, work so hard to make this beautiful home that we brought our daughter home into, and in the matter of seconds, it's completely gone, and we don't know.
There's a lot of memories we won't get back.
Yeah.
Moore managed to run into the house and bring their 2 dogs outside. However, one of the dogs died. The couple is immensely grateful for the outpouring of support from the community and donations they've received from strangers. The cause of the fire is under investigation. 3 restaurant employees were injured in what police say was a random assault. It happened Saturday afternoon at a restaurant in the 1100 block of Main Street. Police say a woman was causing a disturbance, so staff asked her to leave. That's when she allegedly assaulted several employees using a key as a weapon. Restaurant patrons intervened and held the woman until police arrived. A 24-year-old woman is charged with 2 counts of assault and assault with a weapon. Cannabis sales are lighting up revenues for Manitoba Liquor and Lotteries. The Crown Corporation's annual report says sales growth of cannabis flower, extracts, and edibles are outpacing alcohol and gaming. Liquor and Lotteries says cannabis revenue rose by $16.5 million during the year ending on March 31st to just over $170 million. The 11% growth far exceeded casino revenues and alcohol sales growth. However, liquor is still the largest source of revenue for Liquors and Lottery. The Crown Corporation says the increase in cannabis sales is due in part to easier access to retail stores in Manitoba. As of March, there were 229 cannabis stores operating in Manitoba. All right, let's bring in Colleen Brady now. You had a first look at your very rainy Skywatch forecast. That rain still falling now, Colleen?
It is, and for the next few hours. It was a Colorado low last week, another low today. Started off around Yorkton, and then it moved into Manitoba. It's been crossing southern Manitoba all day long, bringing all kinds of rain to many different areas, including the city of Winnipeg and also east into northwestern Ontario. That's where the low's headed. That's where the heavier rain will fall tonight, but it will continue to come on down across a good swath of southern Manitoba. I'll show you for how much longer, when it will dry up, when the sun will come back, and when the temperatures will start to warm back up as well. All that coming up, but let's take a look right now first through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. In Winnipeg right now, it is 5 degrees with the rain coming down lightly. Light winds out of the northwest at 9 kilometers an hour. The pressure's rising and the humidity right now, Marilee, is 95%.
Thanks, Colleen. A warning from police tonight about a high-risk sex offender expected to take up residence in Winnipeg. 30-year-old Sheldon Nelson Flett was released from Milner Ridge Correctional Center today. He's subject to probation orders and a lifetime weapons prohibition. Flett has a lengthy rap sheet, including convictions for sexually assaulting a 16-year-old girl, aggravated assault, and possession of a weapon for a dangerous purpose. He's considered high risk to reoffend in a sexual or violent way towards women and girls. He's described as 187 pounds, 5 feet 8 inches tall, with black hair and brown eyes. He also has a handful of tattoos on his arms and hands and is missing the middle finger on his right hand. The force says vigilantism will not be tolerated. The federal government is spending $1.6 million to help protect Lake Winnipeg. Saturday, Winnipeg South MP Terry Duguid announced 10 new freshwater projects. The goal is to protect and restore Lake Winnipeg. The lake is a significant resource for multiple categories like fishery, hydro, electric generation, First Nations, and Métis communities. Canada's water agency says the projects will establish long-term benefits and engagement with local and Indigenous communities.
Lake Winnipeg is under pressure. It's under challenges. Climate change, pollution, land use changes, and invasive species all threaten its health. With the Canada Water Agency right here in Winnipeg, Manitobans can be confident that their lake, their watershed, and their future are a national priority.
Lake Winnipeg is the 6th largest lake in Canada. It makes up 25% of Canada's commercial freshwater fishery, with its basin hosting 70% of Canada's farmland. Anyone who's ever been moved by a performance knows how important art and culture can be. And now, a new report is showing the financial impact of the arts to Manitoba's economy. According to a new report by the Manitoba Arts Council, the arts and culture sector adds more than $1.75 billion to Manitoba's economy each year. That's roughly 3% of Manitoba's GDP, and officials say is similar to the amount gained from the commercial construction industry. So, when you add this up, the Arts Council says it means for every dollar spent, $10 was generated from other sources.
It also sustains over 20,000 jobs. We see that well over 1.7 million Manitobans engage in arts and culture activities every year. And of course, we know that it contributes to healthy humans through arts education and in so many positive ways.
The study also indicates art and culture play a big role in tourism. It found tourists participating in arts and culture spent more than $477 million in 2023, twice as much as non-arts and culture tourists. A new report shows the Manitoba government is taking longer to respond to freedom of information requests and is collecting more money from people seeking information. The province's annual report on its freedom of information law says 55% of requests were completed within the law's guidelines, which is 45 days. But that number is down considerably from previous years. The report says the government collected $13,000 in fees from applicants last year. That's more than 3 times the amount charged the previous year. Finance Minister Adrian Salas says processing requests slowed down as they centralized the system. He says that's being addressed. As for fees, Salas says the government is standardizing its approach and applying allowable fees, which may not have been charged previously. Time is running out for Seven Oaks Pool. In less than 2 months, the city plans to shut it down for more than a year. The city is shutting down Seven Oaks Pool so it can get a $3.5 million refresh. It will receive concrete structural repairs, waterproofing, and tile replacement. As a result, the main tank will be closed for as long as 14 months. The kiddie pool and splash pad will remain open during the majority of the renovations. A Winnipeg musician woke up to a surprise on Thanksgiving. She says her music was on someone else's track. She's sure it's AI generated, but proving that is far from straightforward. CTV's Harrison Shin brings you the tunes.
Take a listen to this song.
The lights are low, the air feels thick tonight.
It's called Velvet Desire by an artist named Nymphox. Now listen to this.
You're carved from chaos, goddess in lace, and I swear.
This is Velvet Vice, a song released by Jody Lang and her husband going by Hexa Moon. Their music is regularly uploaded to a number of streaming platforms, but this is first time Lang feels like AI may have stolen her talent.
I find that a lot of the similarities are between the track titles and the songs.
Lang alleges Nimfox used some of her own made-up language for their songs.
My voice singing a song I never wrote and I never sang, and it absolutely terrified me.
That's something Nimfox strongly denied. In an email, the artist says, in part, quote, no real human voice was used, cloned, or replicated in any part of Nimfox's work. David Gerhardt, computer science professor at the University of Manitoba, who could not comment on this specific case, said in general, the line between original work and AI is blurring, but proving it and preventing overlap is not easy.
The problem is that AI is so ubiquitous, it's difficult to constrain those kind of behaviors, and so people then have to use legal means as opposed to technical means to do that.
Lang filed complaints to a number of platforms. An email from Spotify said they would take down Nimfox's track as a preventative measure. CTV News did not hear back from Spotify. Lang says the whole thing is disappointing, but it won't stop her from putting out content.
Go out and be the best you that you can be.
Harrison Shin, CTV News, Winnipeg.
There are now just 65 days until Christmas. How wide will Manitobans be opening their wallets for presents this year? Stay with us.
Your morning just got a little brighter. Start your day with CTV Your Morning, and you could win $20,000. For your chance to win, watch CTV Your Morning Winnipeg, weekday mornings 6 to 9.
Taking a look at the markets tonight, crude oil is down 50 cents. The Canadian dollar mostly unchanged. Gold futures added $141. The TSX gained 321 points. The Dow Jones rose 376 points, while the Nasdaq climbed 311 points. Manitobans are planning to spend a little more on their holiday shopping this year, but they also want to be more intentional with their money. That's according to a new Leger survey, which suggests people in our province expect to spend about $890 on their holiday shopping on average. That's up 9% over last year, but still below the national average of $975 per person. The vast majority of respondents say they'll be waiting for sales, comparing prices, and buying discount when they can. More than 2,500 Canadians were surveyed between August 5th and 25th. You'll soon have an easier time learning Indigenous languages thanks to 2 new post-secondary programs. The province is putting $4.5 million towards new programs at the University of Winnipeg and University College of the North. The U of W is establishing a Bachelor of Arts in Indigenous Language immersion in Ojibwe, and UCN is creating a new Bachelor of Indigenous Languages program for fluency development in Cree. Both programs are expected to start in January. If you've been a victim of online fraud, you'll be interested in our next story. November's federal budget will include plans for new financial crimes unit to investigate money laundering and fraud. CTV's Mike LeCouture reports.
According to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre, financial scams cost people in this country $643 million last year. It's why, after 5 years of promising to tackle the problem, the Liberals are finally acting.
Budget 2025 will introduce Canada's first ever national anti-fraud strategy.
The strategy is also coming with a new agency that will target money laundering and online fraud. Canada plans to collaborate with other countries to target those transnational crimes.
We're talking to the FBI, we're going to talk to the financial crime unit in the UK, but you know, my aim is to go after organized crime, is to go after those who scam and defraud Canadians.
There's no doubt that it's really late in the game.
Cybersecurity experts point out the Liberal government promised a financial crimes agency 5 years ago, and they say this multilateral collaboration with other countries is key to catching these types of criminals.
There's a culture of cooperation that needs to be built within our regulatory institutions, within our law enforcement, and within the financial system.
That's partly why the government will amend the Bank Act to require express consent from account holders before enabling services like e-transfers. They'll also require banks to have policies and procedures to detect consumer-focused fraud. The Canadian Bankers Association is on board and applauds the move to have a central financial crimes agency.
There's a lot of skills that involved, the white collar, the movement of money, the complexities, and so having people that can be focused on that would be critical.
This is one of the many pre-budget announcements the government is making leading up to November 4th. And today, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre called on the Prime Minister to keep the deficit under $42 billion, something Mark Carney has already signaled will not happen. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
Turning now to massive outages affecting Amazon Web Services. After narrowing down the cause, which knocked out a number of major apps, users are now reporting new outages. Amazon reported it mitigated an earlier outage which disrupted popular apps and websites including Snapchat, Facebook, and Fortnite. Some banks and airlines also reported issues. Amazon Web Services says it's now seeing connectivity problems. A Boeing 747 cargo jet went off the runway and into the sea in Hong Kong, killing 2 airport workers. The aircraft collided with a security vehicle, then skidded off the runway. The plane broke into 2 parts but was still floating in the sea. Its 4-person crew survived.
Unfortunately, an airport security patrol car was there at that time. The aircraft collided with the patrol car and pushed the car into the sea.
The 2 airport workers who were killed were discovered in their vehicle after rescuers dove into the sea. In the Middle East, the Red Cross received the body of another hostage from Hamas today and transferred it to the Israeli military. In Gaza, humanitarian aid delivery restarted today. Both sides have recommitted to the U.S. ceasefire plan following violence over the weekend. At least 28 people died as Israeli forces launched a wave of strikes, saying Hamas had killed 2 soldiers. Today, medics said 3 more people had been killed by Israeli tank fire. Israel says militants crossed the yellow line, which marks the area where its soldiers are stationed. But residents report confusion over the line's location due to the lack of a visible boundary. U.S. envoys are in Israel, beginning talks with officials in a visit scheduled before the latest violence. The Latin American community in Manitoba started a new chapter Sunday. Music, dance, food, and vendor stalls filled the Franco-Manitoban Cultural Center Sunday. It was for the Latin American Festival. It's a first for our province, and organizers say the idea came naturally as October is Latin American Heritage Month. They add Latin American culture might be something Manitobans are already familiar with.
They're listening to the music, salsa, reggaeton, mariachi music, or they are eating some of the food. They're eating tacos, pupusas, empanadas, and is bringing the cultural context of the things that maybe Manitobans are already enjoying.
Velasco Acosta says the culture is very unique due to its big geographical space, sharing one language and one common culture. He added the growth of the Latin American community is exciting. Millions of people around the world and here in Manitoba are celebrating Diwali. The annual Festival of Lights is one of the most significant dates in Hinduism. A record 2.6 million lamps were lit along a riverbank in India to mark the festival. There are several events planned in Winnipeg tonight, including one at the Hindu Temple and Cultural Center on Ellis Avenue. Fireworks are an essential part of the celebration. Setting the mark. What record Mark Scheifele now holds for the Winnipeg Jets?
Single-digit highs for the next few days, but nicely timed in time for the weekend, a bit of a warm-up. Wednesday, Thursday, 8 degrees under a mix of sun and cloud. Then we get to Friday, a nice setup to the weekend. Bright and sunny, up to 11 degrees, 14 and sunny Saturday. I know we're a few days out, but still, 14 and sunny, the forecast high at this point for Saturday. Into Sunday, we go 13 degrees, mix of sun and cloud with a low chance of showers.
A win is a win, and that is exactly what the Blue Bombers needed Friday night.
For the win, for the W. And the W gets it.
Bombers kicker Sergio Castillo nailed a last-second field goal to help beat the Saskatchewan Roughriders 17-16. The win, along with Edmonton Elks' loss, was enough for the Blue and Gold to punch their ticket to the CFL playoffs. It means the dream of lifting the Grey Cup on home turf is still alive. The Bombers wrap up the regular season Saturday at home against the Alouettes. 4 games, 4 straight wins. The Jets are on a bit of a streak early on in the season, and they look to stay hot against the Flames in Calgary tonight. CTV's Daniel Helmerson has more on the team's scorching start.
Pathway is clear, and he scores!
The Winnipeg Jets are sizzling with 4 straight wins after dropping their season opener to the Dallas Stars. And no one on the club's hotter than center Mark Scheifele, who scored 6 goals in the past 4 games, including a milestone marker Saturday.
Back to Kyle Connor. Scheifele scores! And there is career point number 813.
Scheifele's now the all-time leading scorer in Jets 2.0 history, racking up 342 goals and 471 assists since his debut in 2011. And he passed former captain Blake Wheeler to claim the top spot.
He helped me a lot in my career and, also gave me a lot of tap-ins. So, I'm very lucky for the guys that I play with currently, that I've played with in the past, and, owe it all to them.
And give credit where credit is due this season. The Jets are scoring by committee with 8 players finding the back of the net so far, including forward Vlad Nemestnikov.
Yeah, I think we're starting to gel together, kind of figuring out what systems we play in. And we got a couple of new guys, so usually takes a couple games to kind of click.
And they hope to keep clicking in Calgary Monday night against a Flames team struggling out of the gate with a 1-5 record.
When you get a wounded dog, one of 2 things: either going to bite you or they're going to put their tail between the legs, and I don't think they're going to do the tail part. We got to be ready.
The Jets continue to play without captain Adam Lowry, Cole Perfetti, and Dylan Sandberg, but head coach Scott O'Neill says the openings have allowed new players to gain experience and learn the Jets systems.
I'm probably going to have a headache here somewhere down the road because I'm going to have a lot of bodies at one time, which is a good thing. But we talked about our depth, improving our depth, and we feel that we have that once all the guys are all healthy.
Forward Brad Lambert will make his season debut on the 3rd line with Nemestnikov and Alex Iafallo, and Connor Hellebuck is expected to start in net. Puck drop from Cowtown is slated for 8:30 Central. Daniel Helmerson, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The Hockey Report, brought to you by Santa Lucia Pizza. Check out the game day special.
With the cold weather starting to settle in, a local charity needs your help making sure children stay warm. Coats for Kids is looking for warm clothing, whether that be coats, gloves, boots, scarves, hats, or any other new or gently used winter gear. The charity is also in need of volunteers to help sort, organize, and package donations. You can drop off your donations at any Access Storage location, Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Station, Toys R Us, or YMCA facility across Winnipeg. You can order warm winter wear for your family through United Way agencies, schools, and daycares.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Colleen Brady back with your complete Skywatch forecast. It's already really wet out there, Colleen, and we're not done with this rain yet.
No, it's a pretty slow-moving low that's crossing southern Manitoba. Like I mentioned earlier, it started out around Yorkton, just over on the other side of the provincial border this morning, slowly making its way across Manitoba, dragging rain along with it. Now, here's what it looks like on the radar right now. It looks like you're out of the woods in the southwest. Not so. I'm going to zoom this out. You can see a bit better the circulation of the system. That rain's going to wrap back around back into places like Brandon and Dauphin, Swan River tonight. Check this out, folks. Head a little further to the west into Saskatchewan. Yeah, you see that green turning to white? Some pretty strong winds whipping up in behind this system. We're seeing a bit of a flip over to perhaps some wet snow or flurries. And if you are in places like Dauphin or Swan River, you're forecast to have surface temperatures that will dip just below freezing overnight. So don't be too shocked if you start to see a little bit of mixing of the two. You might see a little bit of light snow yet this evening or overnight. But watch out, though. This rain is is expected to end in those areas before morning, but it could get a little slippery out there with those temperatures dropping below freezing. But you can see it's not just those areas, all across most of southern Manitoba, back into northwestern Ontario tonight, where we're going to see that rain. Winnipeg and the surrounding areas about 5 millimeters, more 5-10 millimeters into northwestern Ontario, but even further east, Thunder Bay, as much as 20 millimeters is possible tonight. We get into the day ahead tomorrow. Well, first overnight, watch for these winds. They're going to whip up out of the north too. I should mention that before I get too far ahead of myself. Into the commute tomorrow morning we go, where there is a low chance here in the southeast of showers as we go throughout the day, but that rain will just keep on coming down over the border into northwestern Ontario as that low continues to head in that direction. Meanwhile, not much activity for folks in the north though, but when you get overnight, you can see up in the northwest corner a little bit of light snow Tuesday night into Wednesday pops in. Further south though, you'll see clearing conditions. We'll get some sunshine back. Temperatures, as I show you with the long range forecast, will still be a little on the cool side, although actually closer to normal for this time of year. 8-9 degrees is the normal high now for Winnipeg. Tonight we drop down to 4 degrees, as much as 5 more millimeters yet to come. Winds overnight as that low passes along will whip up out of the north, 40 gusting to 60. Still that strong in the morning. Low chance of showers, 5 degrees up to 7 in the afternoon, so not a lot of change in the temperature tomorrow. Up in the northeast tonight, best chance of showers is around Island Lake, down to 2 there. Thompson all the way down to -3. Cloudy there tonight, cloudy there tomorrow, 5 degrees. Best chance of sunshine tomorrow in the northeast is up in Churchill. Some light showers this evening for Flin Flon and the Pas, both of those areas heading down below freezing. Low chance of showers there tomorrow, up to around 6 degrees in the Pas. Showers or rain tonight across the southwest. Brandon down to 2, Dauphin -1. Mix of sun and cloud tomorrow, slight chance of showers for Brandon and Neepawa, those areas up to 7 degrees. The whole region though otherwise a mix of sun and cloud. Rain continuing tonight here in the southeast. We drop down to 3-4 degrees. You may see a little bit of shower activity outside the city tomorrow. Speaking of which, showers and strong winds in northwestern Ontario tonight. 3-4 degrees overnight, and then the temperature only goes up a degree or 2 in continued showers on Tuesday. Our first weather photo takes us to Nunavik Lake and the White Shell, and a beautiful look at that fall day. That photo is from Betty. That was over the weekend. And this photo is from Thomas, and this is out in St. Andrews, right along River Road. Send us your weather photos by email to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
The CTV Skywatch Pick of the Day is brought to you by MJ the Musical at Centennial Concert Hall, November 5th to 9th.
Dr. Goodbear visited St. Vital Centre Saturday. The Children's Hospital Foundation of Manitoba held a pop-up book sale at the shopping mall. Fantasy, horror, science fiction, occult, and Halloween were just some of the featured genres. Organizers say while the larger version of the event usually takes place in April and September, they wanted to see how a smaller version would do. They were concerned about the impact digital reading devices might have on sales, but it turns out it wasn't just about reading.
Here's the bottom line. We have found that people who love to read, what they want is the feel of a book, the texture of the book in their hands. So we have found that our success has grown and grown and grown over the years. We are making more and more money for a very wonderful cause.
The event is organized by volunteers who support the foundation. Proceeds from the sale support ongoing child health research and initiatives which comfort kids and their families, such as music therapy and children's television programming in the hospital.
You will get feedback within less than 3 seconds if it contains tumor cells or not.
Spotting more cancer cells faster. How this Made in Canada cancer treatment is using artificial intelligence to help people live longer. That's next in Medical Watch. As the threat of cyber attacks continues to grow in frequency and sophistication, it's more important than ever to make sure your personal information is protected. October is Cyber Security Awareness Month, and joining me now to help keep us all on our toes is Fabrice Jobert, Director of Software Development with Google. Fabrice, good to speak with you.
Nice to meet you.
Based on Google search trends, I'm curious to learn what concerns Canadians have regarding cybersecurity.
I think everybody's a little bit on the lookout these days for the scams that are coming at them through email, through text messages, through social media. And I think they're right to be. I think the latest reports show that in the past year, 60% of people globally have received a scam attempt, have been on the other end of a scam attempt at least. So it's definitely all around us.
What types of threats are most prevalent right now? What should we be on the lookout for?
These things fluctuate all the time, but I think these days some of the biggest threat vectors are the fake package tracking scams and the fake toll scams. So you might get an SMS that tells you that your Amazon delivery is held up and you just need to click here. And if you're not careful, and you know, it's really easy to get taken in because we're all expecting packages all the time. So these things show up and they're very believable at first. And if we're not careful, somewhere along the line, it'll ask us for a credit card number, for instance, and then that'll be it'll be stolen. The fake toll scam works pretty much the same way. It tells us, we get this message that tells us that we forgot to pay our toll for last month, and if we just click here, we can avoid fines. And then it's the same thing. And usually a common factor with all these scams is the sense of urgency. So, if I have one tip to give for people, it's if you get a message that is urging you to act fast, then at least take the time to breathe and think it through at least once.
Some good advice, because a lot of us are going to be online making purchases. The holidays are not that far away, so we're going to be having more contact and chances of these kinds of things happening. What tips, or are there tools out there that you can share with us so we can maybe, do some of this stuff a little safer online this time of year?
Absolutely. So the first one really is being a little wary of messages or requests coming at you. Don't act too fast. Take time to think it through. Ask yourself if it's credible. There are some scams out there as well that claim to be from the tax department, saying that you need to pay your taxes, and in reality, as efficient as our government is, it's not reaching out to us directly via SMS to tell us that we forgot to pay our taxes. And so think through, ask yourself, should I really is this a credible request? Is this really the way this business or this government operates? So I think that's the best way to try to avoid falling for the scam. And then there's some tips on mitigating the effect if you do fall for the scam. So a lot of these might try to steal your password, and you can limit the negative effects of that by making sure that your passwords are different for every site in which you have an account. So never reuse your password. Obviously, make sure your passwords are robust, but don't just count on one single robust password for all your logins everywhere. Change your password. A good way to do that practically is to have a password manager, because then it will remember all the various passwords you're using on different sites. And I would say, in addition to a strong password, you should consider enabling two-factor authentication. That's where, in addition to your password, you also need to type in, say, a code that you get by SMS, or even better, a code that's generated by a special application on your phone. Most accounts nowadays offer this. Your bank for sure offers this, and that's a great extra piece of security, because if your password does get stolen, the bad guys can't do anything with it without that extra code.
Some great tips. Fabrice, thanks so much for your time tonight. It was great speaking with you.
Thank you very much. Stay safe.
If you're having difficulty emptying your bowels, you may want to consider adding more kiwis to your diet. A recent report in a medical journal on human nutrition says eating 2 or 3 kiwi fruits per day can make a difference with constipation. Researchers say roughly 10 to 20% of people suffer from a form of constipation, which can be caused by stress, lack of exercise, and low fiber intake. If kiwi fruit isn't an option, other foods that can help include prunes, rye bread, yogurt, and oranges. New research shows fewer children are suffering from peanut allergies. The journal Pediatrics released a study today finding a 43% drop in peanut allergies. The shift comes after a big change in national guidance in 2017, which encouraged early peanut introduction for babies. Experts say early exposure helps babies build food tolerance through the gut. The study also found peanuts are no longer the top food allergen in young children. That distinction now goes to eggs. Montreal is home to a major medical advancement. A new tool is using AI to help detect cancer in the hopes of offering a better prognosis. Dr. Kevin Petreka is a surgeon at Montreal's Neurological Institute Hospital. He's also the co-founder of Sentry, a handheld device used during surgery that differentiates cancerous tissue from healthy tissue.
98.7% of the time, if it says it's tumor, it's tumor. And equally, or maybe even more importantly, if it says normal brain, it's normal brain 100% of the time.
Petreka says cancer isn't visible to the naked eye or any other technology, so this tool allows surgeons to go beyond what was previously possible and remove more cancer than ever before. According to Petreka, using this device during surgery can extend a patient's life 2 to 5 times longer than expected. It's been most commonly tested during brain surgery, but can also be used to detect cancer in other parts of the body, like the breast and lungs. Hundreds of patients have been involved in clinical trials. The next step for Sentry is to be FDA approved, and a pivotal trial is scheduled for May.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manuke and Coster Denture Clinic.
There's a headline in my lane.
The concert announcements just keep coming, including from a local folk country singer. Plus, your first look at a Hollywood slasher flick filmed right here in Manitoba. Spotlight is next.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Prism and Haywire.
Winnipeg artist William Prince has a new album out, and soon he'll be heading out on a North American tour.
Hear the sound as it rings and it pulls me away.
William Prince's latest album, his 5th, is called Further from the Country. And starting on November 18th, people across Canada and the United States will get a chance to hear him perform songs from it in person. Prince will start his tour in Brooklyn, New York, and then will be performing everywhere, including Hollywood, California, and Vancouver, BC. He'll also have a show right here in Winnipeg, of course, at Centennial Concert Hall on Saturday, April 25th. The Whoop and Holler Folk Festival is an annual summer tradition here in Manitoba, but you won't have to wait for the temperatures to warm up to feel the heat of their sizzling performances. The festival is launching a new Christmas show called The Christmas Spectacular. It's on December 12th and will feature Red Moon Road. This Friday, the 2025-26 Homestead Concert Series gets underway. It will have 5 shows featuring a mix of both local and international artists. For information on all the events, go to whoopandholler.com. Christmas is ordinarily a time of peace, joy, and happiness. But in the new Hollywood movie Silent Night, Deadly Night, shot here in Manitoba, not quite.
'Twas the night before Christmas. The house locked up tight.
This is the first trailer for the horror film Silent Night, Deadly Night. Now, the movie was shot in Winnipeg, Selkirk, Stonewall, and St. Adolphe. Film buffs may realize this is a remake of a 1984 movie with the same title. The 2025 version hits theaters here on December 12th. Well, have you noticed some of the fantastic Halloween houses around Winnipeg? We're looking for a Halloween house to feature on CTV Your Morning Winnipeg. Now, if you think yours fits the bill, you could win a $500 gift card from St. Mary's Nursery and Garden Center and have the chance to show off your Halloween house live on Your Morning Winnipeg on October 31st with a visit from Ainsley McPhail. To enter, head to our contest page at ctvwinnipeg.ca, fill out the form, and of course, submit some pictures. The Voice kicks off your primetime lineup at 7. The Weakest Link is next up at 9, and Tracker wraps up the night at 10. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
We've baked, we've quilted, we've, you name it, we've done it.
The Winnipeg nonprofit has been doing its work for a long time. How many decades it's been fundraising for children in need?
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
Cool day today. Lowest temperature was 5. The highest was 8, but 8 is the normal high for this time of year. You can see though it was a lot warmer on this day a year ago. Tonight, the rain on again, off again, about 5 millimeters expected. Should be out of the way by morning, but there is the low chance of showers throughout the day Tuesday. It will be cloudy, 7 degrees. Mix of sun and cloud Wednesday, Thursday, 8 degrees again. Sunny and double digits by Friday, merrily 11 degrees. Saturday looks great, sunny 14, 13 on Sunday.
Thanks, Colleen. Well, it all started in 1925 with a $300 advance. Now, 100 years later, a women's nonprofit is celebrating a century of service and hundreds of thousands of dollars raised for Manitoba children in need.
Over the years, we've cooked, we've baked, we've quilted, you name it, we've done it.
The Cardam Ladies Auxiliary started with 60 members a century ago. Those women and the many who came in the decades that followed have helped raise money for children living with disabilities. They send them for assessment at Shriners Hospital for Children in Montreal and support their ongoing care here in Winnipeg.
When you look at this long history, some of our more senior members are in their 90s now, so they've been members 50 plus years.
Wow.
And have fundraised enormously.
The next major fundraiser for the group is set for Sunday, November 2nd, at the Specialized Services for Children and Youth Center on Notre Dame. They'll have games and activities for all ages, along with a silent auction and a quilt raffle. Happy anniversary. That is quite the milestone.
Very remarkable.
Not a lot of things are able to sustain all those years. No. So good work to all the ladies that have kept it going and doing great work.
Continue to do so, yeah. Looks like
all right.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, it does. Grab your umbrella if you're going anywhere tonight. It is wet out there.
Yeah.
Rubber boots, too.
If you have them.
We'll see you back here tomorrow. Have a great night.